What up, what up? Hey guys. Oh, there we go. Okay, hold on. Today's stream, I'm starting a little late today because I had some work stuff, because I am the on-call dev this week. Just kind of gets a little way. And we kind of had a big thing need to go in for a big, like, customer. So that's literally sitting in QA right now, but since I got it, since I'm on call, if there's any issues, I'm gonna be on the call, so I may or may not have to dip. We'll see what happens. Finger crossed we don't. I probably won't end. I probably won't end stream over it, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Because if I get called, I'm gonna have to take it. Blah blah blah. I won't know how long it's gonna long I could take. All that fun stuff. But whoops. I can do that? Whoa, hold on. I set my phone down on my sound bar and all of a sudden, okay, you guys are getting feedback. 1 second. Or, well, no, you're not getting feedback. It's my phone is coming back through my... I can't talk now. I opened up stream on my phone so that way I could see, you know, so I can make sure all the audio settings and stuff are right. And it, like, connected to my Bluetooth and I can't get it off now. There we go. Let's connect again. And like all I did was set my phone down like on my sound bar. There we go. I could leave that on because you guys can still get the music. I can't hear my music. I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world, but... Oh, wait, but you're... Okay, no, you're not connected. Let's try to connect again. I like my music. What is happening? This is really, really, really annoying. Come on, give me my audio back. Why is it not wanting to connect now? Alright, we're gonna do that. And try it again. Come on. You guys can't see anything I'm dealing with right now. Alright, I'm going to turn you off then. Let's turn you back on. Then we go here. Connect. I don't have my audio. This is going to be real awkward. Yeah, it is discoverable. Come on. I hate Bluetooth. It's so frustrating sometimes. To you guys, it's completely fine. It's just silent for me, and it's weird. Come on. Doing a whole lot of not game dev right now. Discoverable why. There we go. I don't know why that was being so difficult. Hey Fev, you just missed me trying to figure out stupid audio issues. Didn't realize this, that if I set my phone on top of my soundbar, it triggers like a quick connect kind of thing, and all of a sudden my phone took over my Bluetooth audio. And then I was getting none of my music, nothing at all, and then it wouldn't connect back, and it was a whole thing. But I got things to show off today, so that's cool. I can get to every part of my game now without having to exit out of the game. I got, you know, all these little buttons down here that'll take you all the social medias. Quits, obviously. Start loads me into the game. Hit save and quit. Takes me back to the menu. Cool. And then if I... Okay, cool. That's that thing. I can hop in here. There's a loading screen now. That's neat. Pop in. This guy is new. I'll show off that in a minute. Those guys don't loot anything yet, so I need to find like an actual camp to show this off. And hopefully not die in the process, because I still don't have armor. See if I can find. Oh, okay. I was gonna say I see dead bodies. That's promising. Oh, I'm gonna get killed trying to do this. I want to loot like a guy so I can show this off. Oh, or okay, or I die. This'll, you know, send me back here. Let's make this a little bit better for me and put some armor on. Oh, and I lost my gun. Cool. All of these are the loud guns, so I apologize in advance. Let's go back in. Which means now there also is there's a zombie running around with my stuff. There's my stuff. So I got the quiet gun again. But okay, I guess so that, you know, I can use that to prove my point. So now, you know, this is the original gun. I got my one gun back. And go back here, stand in this guy for a second. I think I got the time set up really, really high for this right now. And I don't have a little thing saying, you know, the amount of time. But we're back to the Enclave, and I've got my gun. Well, that's what we accomplished yesterday, and yesterday when I was off stream. I got a lot of cleaning up to do with that code, because I got to make like, I need to make an actual like scene loader or like level loader like class, because right now it's all kind of like hard coded into like if I go into the forest generator. Which actually the generators themselves have to handle it, because I have to, for the loading to load into the scene. But yeah, we gotta figure out an elegant way to do it. But we eventually vibe coded our way into getting that loading screen to work, because it was not working and it was being a pain. But what I want to do now then is actually to work on this extraction guy a bit more. And for simplicity, we're just going to throw it in here. because I need to give it the. I gotta give it the timer. And just for simplicity, again, because things are kind of not written out well right now. Let's grab this loading screen. Drop that bad boy in here. Yeah, all right. So I'm zooming in way too far. Let's do that. Let's set this by inactive by default, and then we can grab the extraction point. Enclave generator. Actually, how did I have this set up in the other? Let's find. Hey Fev, how is it going? Where's the force generator creates the guy on the set loading screen. Okay. Remains on the enclave generator for the sake of things. We're gonna do That's cool. That's cool. I'm still trying to figure out sourcing components I need for this handheld retro emulator that I'm trying to build. And kind of just learning how to like do things. So I think for like the time being right now, it's kind of I've just bought one of those like generic little just like electronic kits that's got like a bunch of wires and breadboards and everything, and you know, and resistors and all of the like just generic tools and stuff like that. So I can kind of just play around with that and like relearn some of like the basics and everything. And then at that point, I'm trying to source out and figure out how it works to, but finding like an LCD screen that I'll be able to hook up to this Pi through because I have to do it through the GPIO pins because I don't know if I'm gonna have space in the inside my little housing to actually like run like a little like video cable. But like we're getting we're making baby steps though. I just gotta wait for like the just generic components to come, and you know it's like one of those kits that, like I said, that just has all like the random generic stuff in there where you can make little projects where you put like LEDs in the breadboard and press buttons to turn them on and off and all that fun stuff. Are these? Yeah. These are not. Let's make these serialized just for the. Oh, they are serialized. Clicking on the wrong thing. That's why. Okay, cool. So I don't even have to actually do anything with code. I left these open so I could drag and drop. So I need to. I'm getting to the point in my game right now where I feel like stuff is starting to fall apart. Not like not in a way that's gonna like prevent me from continuing on at all. Like it's not even remotely close to that. But I'm definitely running into issues with how I wrote things, and you know, this is definitely like I've never built a game to the scale of this game, and there's a lot of things that I've never done before that I've done in this game. So I'm running into some like headaches lately where I'm gonna have to do some rewrites, but I don't think any of them is gonna be I don't think any of them is like gonna prevent the like play test for people. Like this is more stuff that like after I can get the play test out because it's not gonna hinder that. But then while the play test is happening, alongside doing bugs, I'm gonna have to like refactor some things to make the game a bit more manageable to deal with going in the future, because a lot of this stuff is that I'm running into is honestly is jumping between like scenes and a lot of the systems and how they work. Or just like even simple things like here where I think I need to make like a proper like event, like not an event system in the sense of like the C# events, but like some sort of event system for my player where I can do things like what I'm doing right now of trying to have like the little timer above his head. Because I think what I want to do right now is I've got, so when I reload, you'll see this little bar that comes across the head. I think I kind of want to use that. And right now that's being driven through an event. But now I want to kind of do the, what is this called? The extraction point thing to use that thing too. And I guess I could. See, that's honestly too, I'm wondering there are things that I will have to refactor in order to continue the game. But they're nothing like crazy. And yeah, I'm not going to do anything like insane and stuff like that, because I think there's a certain point where like I don't need to write the code for my game the way that I write my code at work, because this isn't going to be this constant like be developed like, you know, thing. I don't need to have all this like modularity and stuff at, you know, to it and stuff like that. I can handle, the game can handle having some like tight or have coupling that I wouldn't normally be able to do at like say work and everything. Because it's not going to be like a live service game or anything like that. Like I'll probably we'll do like updates and support the game, you know, for after I release it for like a period of time, and maybe do like small updates in the future. But like, yeah, it's definitely not something where it's going to be like super crazy. But something like say this, the loading screens and stuff like that, that 100% needs to be refactored in order for me to progress on, because it's only going to work. It only works on like the one screen right now. I got it to work first before I wrote it properly is the thing. Because I'm trying to kind of come up with creative ways to do these things, when in reality, honestly, at the end of the day, writing an event here to do on extract start and on extract cancel, for example. Like I can just put these in here. It's not that big of a deal. I was trying to come up with some like crazy over-engineered way to do it. And I think that's honestly what's been slowing my game down. But I also still gotta like somewhat be smart about things too, just because of how complex my game is. Oh yeah, let's get rid of these. I don't understand why those guys were even in there in the first place. So what I think what I can do is on the extract point, I'm already checking the player anyway. So I could just do, where do I need to make an event? Public action, float on extract start. And we'll do this cancel. Oh yeah, which means I don't actually, what am I doing? Player doesn't need these events or these actions. Oh, am I doing this backwards though? Can I connect? Honestly, anything that's calling this has access to it in the first place. So I probably don't even need to. I just could have called this action start. Make it public. An action end. And then in here, I'll just do action bar. I don't need to make this nullable. Or I don't need to double check on that. I can do. Wait, what is action bar? Is that it? Did I make it its own thing? Is its own thing. All right, so go in there. Hey, Genesis.
Genesis.com just followed.
All right. What was I? You completely broke my train of thought. I mean, I appreciate it, but completely broke my train of thought here. Okay, so I have a timer in here, but I'm doing, man, I wrote this weird. Okay, yeah, I wrote this weird, but oh, come on, autofill. Yeah, I don't know. I encapsulated this in such a weird way, but we can work with that. It's fine. So then the player now, we can just call stop. And actually I need to call stop before I turn the thing off. Because then if I did that right, yeah, so the stop, I'm calling the stop is going to call the timer stop everything. Okay, everything works there. So then the extraction point, I can call player dot action start, and it's going to be the extract time. Player dot action end. That probably will satisfy my way to, or my need to make this like modular. It's probably going to be an issue in the future. Like who knows, but it works for now. Anyway, Genesis, you said you're your fellow Unity dev. You working on any projects right now? Tell us about it. Okay, so that should now. Oh, I left this running the entire time. Oh, compilers. On action does not exist in the current context. On who? The player. Oh, right. We'll just connect this to that, so I don't have to refactor the weapon components, and that should just work fine there. There we go. Now we have a little thing that tells you. What happens if I reload? Okay, so that does not override it. Interesting. Okay. That works when I pop back in or step in and out of it. There we go. We load, pop back in. Okay. Neat. The only thing I don't super like about that is if there's like trees in the way, you're probably not going to be able to see it. That's fine. Oh, geez. Shoot. Why is there two of them on me? As well. Oh, and the zombie got me. My game's too hard, guys. Cool. Let's get rid of these. Delete those bad boys. Save this off, and I can probably just PR this in, and we can call this done for now. Because I think the plan is like I'm gonna get everything functioning and working, and then I'm gonna go back and polish stuff. Because I was doing this thing where I was doing it, and then I would polish it, and then I would do something, and then I would polish it. And there's things that are taking way longer to do, you know, than I would originally would thought, and it was screwing up the schedule. And for a playtest, especially for like a small playtest for people that I know, the polish doesn't need to be there. If I don't get the polish done, that's fine. You guys will all understand on a you know, super pre-alpha like playtest that it's more about functionality than anything else. Oh, why is this full screen? Don't need that. All right, let's. And let's open up the Trello board to. Actually, I'm lazy. I know a way to pull up my Trello board. Let's merge that in, confirm the merge. Successfully merged. All right, cool. So that means I can hop back over to main. Fetch that. And then now if I go to my chat and I do this, and then I click my link tree. There we go. That's how I'm pulling up my Trello board. Here, we'll go ahead and pop over to the. Oh, not that one. We'll hop over to this one so you can kind of see what's happening here. Didn't really have a thing for this. Okay. Honestly, right now too, I've kind of just been moving things into progress, and when they're done, deleting them, because I don't really have, you know, once the game is out there and I'm gonna do like more like standardized releases, then I will do. No, then I'll leave them in ready to deploy so people can see what's coming up in future updates. Fev, I think we lost Genesis. He's not in here anymore. Not gonna lie, when I was pleasantly surprised, because when I saw Genesis.com, I definitely thought that it was gonna be like some sort of like weird bot. In fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I don't want to just type in Genesis.com. Yeah. I think the problem is like they popped in when I was trying to think something out, so I kind of ignored them for a second. well, they're 11 followers. They're making okay, yeah. Genesis, if you're still here, you're making a Resident Evil 7 inspired horror game. It's really cool. Interesting. Never seen a devilteam.com, but is that a... Oh, interesting. It's like a... The Twitch page linked to this thing called devilteam.com. And it's like a way for game developers to look... Interesting. That's neat. Okay. Manager scripts need refactored. Secondary weapon functionality on other menu. None of these bugs are bugs I want to work on right now. Quest system, just not doing that on stream. That's gonna be too intense. Small item slots. That I want to finish this bug before I get into that, to be honest. Finish forest level. That's scopes. I haven't really figured out how I want to do scopes yet, so that's not. Ammo usage is a potential you could do. Proper loot drops to do. Adding armor, campsite POI, military POI, cabin POI, weapon audio, weapon repairs, and create the enclave level. So there's nothing really here that's like really screaming to me that I want to work on. Because the problem with the ammo usage is I got to figure out how to also like swap the ammo types. That could be a whole. Trying to think, what kind of things could I have the zombies themselves drop? I don't necessarily want them just walking around with like weapons and stuff, but I want them to have like some sort of... Oh, my speaker's like cutting out on me. Basically, so on the enemy base... Okay, so what we'll have to do here is on the instance, when we load the players on, we'll have to clear whatever loot drops are, but we can put the loot drops just like a drop table just on the base of the base enemy, since that's all what's going to be doing loot drops. Okay, I thought my music or my speaker cut out. Yeah, so let's work on some loot drops and getting a loot drop system in place. Man, I'm sad we didn't keep him around very long. Also, there was another guy that was in chat too for a second. He was only popped around for a minute, but I recognized him from Discord. It was a guy that like followed like way back. He never even said hi. I'm sad. I want to figure out how to do like weighted loot tables. You know, let's vibe code time. Let's see. So I got loot item. No, okay, yeah, I got that. So we got list loot items. Cool. Provide item in line. If the cumulative weight plus or equals the item weight, random value. I will weight it eventually, but like, so, because literally our loot tables right now are basically, because if we look at a lootable, so the loot table is just a list of, oh, hold on, let's close out everything. Close other tabs, and then random lootable. So right now we have a loot table, and a loot table is just a list of random loot. I'm just gonna pop the script in here and see what it says. All right, here we go. So actually, so what I need to do here though is my loot table's got is a list of loot. Make sure it knows what loot table looks like. Oh, it does not know how to handle this at all. Can I put like Genesis is back? No worries. We were just talking about the fact that when you first joined in and I saw your username as genesis.com, I immediately was like a little bit sus because of the username. So we're like, oh, I wonder if it was a bot or what was going on with that. But then I was poking around on your Twitch channel because I was trying to see what you were working on, because I think you disappeared about the time that I asked like what projects you were working on, and I found the I'm nosy. I'm very nosy, but I found the Resident Evil like game that you're working on. I don't want these to have, okay. Dude, I'm the same way. Like, I'm so bad at, like, I have a Twitter. You know, I have a Twitter and Instagram and all this stuff that the intent to, like, you know, start marketing my game as I'm getting closer to, I don't even know if my playtest isn't necessarily going to be an open playtest. I think I'm going to limit it to like certain people in like my community, especially like in my community and stuff. But like, I still should get on like marketing and everything. And I just haven't. I'm really bad about, like, when I'm done streaming, I basically stop doing anything and don't think about doing updates. All right, cool. I think I'm in the clear. Yeah, neither Fev nor Genesis. I don't think you were here when I was talking about this. I'm the on-call developer at work this week, and we had a pretty significant issue come up today with one of our biggest customers. And I was afraid that during stream I was going to get pulled away if there was potentially an issue with QA on this ticket, if I had to go and fix it, which would have been interesting because I wasn't the one who actually fixed it. But I just got the notification that the issue is addressed and scheduled to be patched in tonight. So I think I'm in the clear. Don't have to worry about on call. No, my day job is just your regular old run-of-the-mill software engineering job. I wish it was a game dev job, but yeah. Unfortunately, as it is, game dev jobs are super hard to get, and they also don't pay as much. Like, to be completely honest, the amount of money I make right now doing it is way more than I would make as a game dev. I do a little bit of front end work at work, but not enough to even really consider myself full stack. I know enough that I can help out when I'm needed, but I'm primarily a back-end developer. So I basically just work, I just work on like the, most of my day is working on the API and and doing a lot of database work. I'd say, like when I'm on call, especially, most of the stuff that I have to deal with on-call tickets is literally doing data fixes in our database. It's C#. We're a Microsoft house, so it's everything we do with C# in the back end. We have an Angular front end. Nothing super crazy. It's just some business management type software. 90% of it is companies managing like work orders and invoicing and all that fun stuff, it's super boring stuff, but it pays the bills. All right, so what were we? My only experience is with Node.js, so I'd say probably Node.js. So I've been doing game dev on and off I started learning it in college. So probably like, I want to say probably around 2015-ish is when I really started diving into learning like game dev. So I mean, I've been technically doing it for 10 years, but when I say on and off, I mean very, very on and off, especially during school. It's hard to do things. And then when I graduated, the real world hit and stuff. But I've floated around. I started with Unity. I've done work in Unreal Engine. I did work in Godot a lot recently and then ended up back in Unity. So I've been around. This is probably the first game that I've made with like the intent of like actually making it commercially. This is also the largest game I've ever made by far. but this is also the longest I've ever committed to working on a project too. I'd say like by me being a game developer, it was like 9 times out of 10. It was like I have a massive backlog of projects that I started, worked on a couple months, and then quit working on for various reasons. But I'd say Unity's probably been the one that I've used the longest. Unity's the reason why I know C#. And so, I mean, the jobs I have now are C# jobs. So I've got that. I guess I got that going for me. And that's kind of why I like Unity now, is because C#, I know it. If I weren't working on a 2D game right now, though, I'd probably be working on Unreal. To be completely honest, like I think Unreal is probably my favorite engine. I also am a psycho and like working in C++. But Unreal and 2D games aren't. It's not. I've tried it. That's not a rabbit hole that I like going down. So it's my like. What I tell people now these days when they're first getting into game dev and stuff like that is I tell them to look at Godot, because I love Godot. This game started in Godot and I ported it over to Unity because I was running into issues with the engine itself and like limitations that I did and stuff about the engine that I didn't particularly care for. But in general, I really like Godot. So I always tell people like start with Godot, and then beyond that, it's basically like if you're doing 2D games, I always recommend Unity, and if you're doing 3D games, I recommend Unreal. But I'm very much not a fanboy of an engine. Like there's too many people out there that all try to go, I'm gonna use that this engine is that is the best one, and I'm only going to use this engine and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's not how it works. They're all different tools. They all got different pros and cons. And you use the one for the best for your use case. Prime example of this is actually in Unreal. The huge argument that people have in Unreal all the time is arguing like blueprints versus like C++. And anybody that says only blueprints is wrong, and anybody who says only C++ is wrong, you're supposed to use them both in tandem. That's the way it's designed. But there's so many people out there that are like, which is better? Which is better? And I'm like, neither. They both have their purposes. But I guess that's what happens when you get in like the hobby space is really wild in Unity, because there's so many people that are just hobbyists. They're not actually software engineers. They don't actually really know what they're doing. And you get some interesting hot takes. Why does this think I've done stuff in here? What did I do? I don't think I'm gonna get into the craziness of... But yeah, game dev is wild. There's especially just because of the sheer number of people who like they know how to code, but they're not like you know, software engineers and stuff. So there's like things that they do that are technically right or you know, but like they don't know why. I don't know. I'll get off my soapbox because I'll never like discourage people from getting into it either. Like everyone has to start somewhere. How do I want to do this? So right now it's literally... Can I serialize a dictionary? Because I want to have... We could try it. I don't think I can, which is the problem, because I think I tried to do this before. and it didn't work the way that I was hoping it would work. Let's say dictionary of item. Is it an extension? Okay. Item in an int. Wait. Drop table. Forgot to name it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because now if I go into... What do I even call these things? Drop tables. Yeah, that's what I thought. Actually, I don't know. I didn't even need to do that. I could just type public, but. Because that would have been really cool if I could. Because I don't want to, I mean, I could tie the... Because, like, I could just make these all, like, just have, like, you know, equal chance of doing it. But I also don't want to do that. I kind of want them to be weighted, but maybe I won't. Just because I'm lazy. Actually, I don't even think a dictionary would really do what I want to do anyway. I don't want to pay for your thing. I just want to see. This item. I'm trying to see how other people have done weighted loot tables. So this is doing the same thing where they're putting the weights on the specific item. Put a method that will give us a random item. That would be a string, blah, 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 blah. So the total, they're making a total. They for each their entire list, and the total they plus equals the weight of the item. Then they get a random weight from between 1 and the total. And then for I equals 0, I in the late if random weight is less than or equal to the... Oh, so this guy's doing it where you spawn in every item that is... Yeah, screw it. We'll just give them drop tables and let them just drop whatever. It's not actually that big of a deal. Question is, what do I want to let zombies drop? I guess they could just drop a random, you know... Because I think what I would do is I could have a list of drop tables that they could pick from, randomly select a drop table, and then randomly select an item from that drop table. Which might be what I do instead of going super crazy. I don't really care, I guess, if items are like super rare or super not rare. It's whatever, I guess. So in that case, let's go back to the here. Enemy base. So what we want here then is to have serialized field, private list of, not list cloner, list of drop table. That's our drop tables not. Oh, because they're called loot tables in code. Why did I do that? Whatever. So apparently in code, it's a loot table, not a drop table. So then we don't need on reanimation on components. I could probably just do it when in the setup. To do actually set a wait time post testing. Yeah, that's fine. We're gonna leave that there. Did what? Oh, no. It's the lootable was just something. This is completely different, but lootable is just a base class of an item, like an object that is lootable. The thing I wanted itself was the loot table, because the loot tables are these guys that I'm dropping the items in. I suppose I should probably give you like the elevator pitch of the game. That's one thing I'm super bad at doing. But no, so game we're working on, it's called Zomclave. It's a first-person 2D extraction shooter. So think like Tarkov or Zero Sievert. But my spin on the game is zombies. That's my elevator pitch. But no, it's so you'll go out, you know, into the level, do the normal things you do in an extraction shooter, you know, looking for loot, looking for, you know, do quests and all that fun stuff. There's a handful of different NPC like factions in the game, all going from like other survivors to small communities to like military people, and then like the zombie faction. And on top of that, I added like a whole reputation system on top of that, so that way you can befriend certain factions so they won't fight you and shoot you like on sight. I haven't implemented that in yet. But the world is like completely dynamic. So like the NPCs and stuff like that will also fight the zombies. So like you could walk up to like, you know, if there's an area like a military camp or something like that you're struggling to like get into, you could totally like run around the map, gather up a bunch of zombies, drag them over there, and then run away, let the two of them duke it out, and then go and clean up and everything. So it's really cool because the world is like super dynamic, and they'll all of the factions will fight each other depending on what I have the reputation set at. And then the game has a level of permadeath to not to the extent of like say like Tarkov where your stuff is like gone period. How the permadeath system in my game works is when you die you'll lose everything, but then the next time you deploy into a level, there's going to be one zombie that is the zombie of your last player walking around that map. And if you can find that zombie and kill that zombie, it will drop that loot and you can pick the loot up and extract. But it's like a one shot. If you go into a level and you don't kill that zombie and if you don't find the zombie and don't get your stuff and then you leave the level, that stuff's gone. So there's like somewhat of a buffer for like complete permadeath, but like there is still ways where like, yeah, you can 100% lose your stuff. And like the setting of the world is kind of, I I think the initially, because Escape from Tarkov was like such a heavily influence on it, I have this like weird like Russian aspect of the game. So I basically have kind of like, I'm spinning the story into the Cold War essentially turned into we're like in the midst of the Cold War, and like there was some, you know, chemical, you know, biological warfare that happened that created like the zombie outbreak and stuff like that. So you're kind of just this like survivor in this post-apocalyptic world caused by the Cold War going south, but instead of nuclear, it's zombies. If that makes sense. So like you'll definitely see like there's two of the factions of the game are the Green Army and the Red Army, and the Green Army is like the United States and the Red Army are like the Russians, and you see a lot of US weapons and a lot of like Russian weapons in the game. And that's kind of just, that came from like the initial inspirations, and they kind of just stuck around. And I've had to come up with a canon for why it's so weirdly US versus Russia in a zombie thing. All right, so for when we set up the components, honestly, this in a game like this, no, you're right. In a game like this, the story really is kind of not really a whole thing. I mean, even technically, like Tarkov technically has like a story, but like, woo. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, the game has a story, but it's not going to be like super deep. It's more of just an explanation of why the world is the way that it is, and that's about the extent that I've gone with it. All right. So, all right, back to enemy base. We need to have these guys drop. Here we go. So, int number drops. I'm gonna have to find a way to, at some point, depending on, we'll cross that bridge later, because I gotta handle like ammunition with the guns, because I want to make sure they're dropping ammunition that's relevant to the gun that they have, because that just makes sense. But that's a whole different thing. We'll just start with this. Random dots, random range. We'll say between 10 and 25. Why are you happy? Oh, right, because I have both randoms. Let's do the Unity one. There we go. Oops. Oh, and it's just range. That's right. Yeah, let's just alias the Unity engine one, since that's the one that I'm gonna be using anyway. How did JetBrains annotations get in here? I don't even use JetBrains. Well, okay, so what's funny about so I've done some research on this. I don't remember how the C# one works, but so the Unity one is interesting. If I go in here and you see, because I think here, let me pull up system dot. Int rand equals system dot random dot range. Is it range? I can't remember. Let's do like 0 to 5. Probably a capital R. Oh, it just like completely worked, because I got to do like, okay, I remember this. I can't even remember how to use it. New, because you got to instantiate a thing and the whole other thing, and I don't really use it all that often. The one thing, but I used to know the answer to it, but the one thing that I have noticed is if you look at Unity's random.range, if you use specifically integers, it's the minimum is inclusive and the maximum is exclusive. But if I suddenly go in here and make these floats, oh, because that's not a float. Let me make this float so that way it like it's being upset. You'll notice now it's suddenly inclusive for the two floats. So, and this threw me one time because I didn't realize that there was two overloads for random.range. And so when I was doing something with an array, I was doing like, you know, count -1. And then it was like not doing what I expected it. And that's because the integer value is automatically exclusive. So like the Unity random.range works super nicely with iterating through arrays, but I cannot remember how the system namespace one works. Because I think if I did like random rand equals new random, because I think that's how it works, right? Can I declare of type static? I don't remember how to use this damn thing. Yeah, I just straight up don't remember how to use the system random. Let me but like it's, I don't know, it's just super cool. It was one thing that I did notice that was like unique to like the Unity's random was that if you specifically used integers, it was exclusive on the max. You did not have to do any like -1 stuff for like iterating through arrays. Granted, I feel like you also should just be doing for eaches when you're, well, no, for each still needs a count. Or no, but you're still fine because for each blah blah. Yeah. So like I don't know. It was just something I noticed forever ago, and I don't remember the exact details of it. But it was just a funny thing that threw me way back when I realized floats and integers were treated differently in Unity's random. And now that I deleted everything, and let's just say 10 to like. Dude, it threw me so bad because I could not figure out, like, it was always ignoring the last, like, because I think I discovered it when I was first doing these loot drops, and it was never dropping the, or like dropping the last value in the loot table, and I could not figure out why. And then suddenly I randomly read one time, because I think I looked up the documentation and saw that it was exclusive and didn't catch that it was specifically floats. So for int I equals 0, I blah, 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 blah. That's standard, you know, for loop. We need to get a, okay, so then, no, loot table. Table equals, what did I call that thing? Drop tables, loot tables. What did I call it? Loot tables. And then we're going to random range of, see here I could do 0 and loot tables dot count and everything's happy. Why is that not happy? That was looking for lootable to loot table. Did I put the wrong? I did. It's annoying that lootable and loot table are so close. And then now I can do inventory component dot inventory dot add table. Random.range of 0 to table.count. I have no idea how horrendously bad this might actually be. That's right. Okay. So table.loot.count. There we go. Not like indexing. Table. That's why. Convert item from inventory item. Oh, that's right. Okay, what's the... Oh, I have code for this. Oh, I have code for this. Where is it? I forget how I forget how I wrote this to do this. Because these are items, so I have to convert them to inventory items before I add them to the thing. Item spawner.spawn. That's right. Okay, so I need... Item spawner.spawn. This is so gnarly. So we're getting a random item from the table, passing it into spawn. Item spawner takes in an item, converts it to a... Yeah, so So the drop tables have a list of items. I'm grabbing a random item out of that, sending it into my spawn function, the item spawner, that function or that converts it into an inventory item, and then I'm adding it to the inventory. Now we go into the zombies. Character zombie should have a loot table now, or a list of loot tables. Zombies can have... It's even more annoying. So I got lootable and loot table, and then but these things are not even called either. These are called drop table. But so I'm gonna do valuables, tools, and oh, fine. Pin that. You're just gonna be carrying around random crap for some reason. That. Alright, fine. Be difficult. And then the enemy. Character enemy. Oh, it was still... You are going to have valuables, tools, electronics, medical, food, any of that stuff, I guess. Things should have stuff and things now when I kill the things. Get a gun. Alright, there's the extract point. Let's find a zombie. that must have been an old me zombie. Feels like too much stuff for a zombie. We might expose the We might go about doing this a little differently. It's like, yeah, this dude's just walking around with a whole... Oh, the large propane tank is not correct. Yeah, this looks a little ridiculous. But the neat thing is, at least I could go in here and I could grab like that, and that, and that, and that, and sure the GPU and the USB drive and all that stuff. And you run back up here. Grab energy. I'm gonna make that faster. That's cool. So I think what we do here is we make this a... So we're going to generate that method, not up here. Oh, I guess up here is fine. Public virtual void. Protected virtual void. Can't override a private method. And that way we can have different guys do different things, I suppose. Oh, damn. How is it already almost 4 o'clock? All right. So now what we'll do here then is in the I don't know how I want to. So I'm realizing now I need. Maybe it's just that the zombies have too much stuff on them. Because now at this point, like, I could just make catered drop tables to the guys, but... can leave this in here, I guess. I'll drop it down to like 5 to 15 items, I guess, maybe. Except this still needs to be pulled out into its own thing, so. Because I want to have the base guys have additional, you know, stuff on top of it. So I can call this and then still do the thing. So like in the instance of like the Green Army Grunt. Doesn't the base happen and start? No, it happens in Awake. Okay. So I set up inventory in setup components. Let's generate overrides. And let's do the setup inventory. Add that guy here. Oh, it's debug.log. Duh. Let's make sure. That this does what I think it do. Okay, cool. So now what I want to do then is get weapons have a yeah, weapons have a list of compatible ammo. So what I can do here then is if weapon actually, no, I don't even have to do this. I can do this in base. I'm going to leave it virtual just in case, but I can literally go if weapon component dot primary does not equal null. Then I can do check if it's the inventory item, which, oh, that's fine. So I can have a list of item ammunition. ammo drop equals, and I can do weapon component dot primary dot item dot item dot okay. So item weapon equals weapon component dot primary dot item as item weapon. Then I can just do weapon dot compatible ammo. Actually, I probably don't even need to do that because I can do we'll say like 2 drops out of it. So I probably don't need to do this. Then so inventory, yeah. Component dot inventory dot add. Oh wait, I went way too hard here. I could just do add to inventory. This is gonna be item spawner dot spawn of weapon dot compatible ammo of 0 to weapon dot compatible ammo dot count. Oh, random dot range. I need one more guy in there. Whew. Wait. I need one more? No? Oh, one inside. Got one too many on the outside. There we go. Jesus. An easy way to technically I just do this. Just run it twice. Here we go. Just why? Because I feel like it. I'm just gonna call it twice. 1 second. Yep, I am safe now. But it is 4 o'clock. We're gonna give it about another half hour. I need to 2.5 hours is like a good stream length, I think. I don't know. Maybe if I get more viewers, I'll, stream longer when its chat's more active. But Friday streams are always weird though, because I got so much like housework I gotta do too on Fridays, but that's what it is. But yeah, we'll give it at least another half hour before we consider bailing. Oh, Fev. I'm actually seriously considering starting a podcast. And part of me wants to, I haven't said this to anybody yet, but part of me kind of wants to reach out to, I can't remember, Fev. Were you active at all in Tallest Tower? Or were you like strictly in Chris's group? I can't remember. But like, I'm considering reaching out after, because this will probably only make sense if you were part of the Tallest Tower group. But I cannot remember if you were in there or not. But because of, in the Tallest Tower Games podcast, okay, that's what I thought. So Tallest Tower is where Chris started and came from, which I'm sure you knew that. And they kind of were like on and off and not really existent. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere the other day, Brad had made an announcement that him and another guy were doing this other podcast that wasn't specifically like game dev, but it was more like the creative, like just creative stuff in general. And I know Zach, the other guy, really was like into the podcast. He even helped carry the podcast when Brad was like away and blah, blah, and stuff like that. And I'm like considering reaching out to Zach. The problem is he hasn't been active in Discord, like period. I know a few of us have pinged him and he hasn't said anything, but like I kind of want to like reach out to Zach and see if he's still wanting to do a game dev oriented like podcast and try to like start it with him. But I have not. I've been thinking about this for almost like 2 or 3 weeks, and I haven't even messaged him yet. I don't know what's holding me back. I'm not like scared to do it, but I'm just like haven't done it. I don't know. I don't know why. Like, because I know why I haven't reached out yet, because I don't know what his response is gonna be. Even though I'm 100% like, what's the worst that happens? He says no, But I've been thinking about reaching out to Zach from Tallest Tower and seeing if he wants to like reboot, like I shouldn't say reboot the podcast, but like get back into the game dev podcast game with like me. But a lot of me doing a podcast though is hinging on finding somebody else that wants to do a podcast with me, because I don't really want to do a solo podcast. I should ask tonight, yeah. Like I've already, like, I mean, I know how I want the podcast to run. I mean, it's a game dev podcast. It's going to be probably the same general thing where it's a, where it's going to be, do small talk about what you've been doing in life, talk about what you're doing in gaming period, blah, blah, blah. And then move on to like talking about game dev and, or, what are we working on, or just game dev in general and stuff. And I even got like a name for it. I think my name's super funny and creative and I like it. But I'm not going to spoil the name yet. But yeah, like a lot of me doing the podcast though hinges on if I can, if not Zach, if I can find like somebody that wants to do a game dev podcast, because I don't really want to do a solo cast. But what do I know? Maybe I could try it solo anyway, and maybe I'll grow into it. But it's like the idea of doing it solo, like, I don't know, scares me. I think it's just easier to do when you have someone else there to like bounce off of and everything. That's kind of where I'm at. My wife says I should do it because she says I have a quote podcast mic, because that's what she calls this whole obnoxious setup. She's like, it's a podcast mic. And I'm like, I mean, It does technically have a podcast setting on it where you can like talk on both sides and oops. All right. Let's go find a dude to kill. See if he drops some ammo. Yo, yeah, 100%. If I do it, I'll drop it. I'm also in this weird boat though too, where it's like I feel bad just kind of like I know Chris would totally be fine with it, and like the tallest tower guys would totally be fine with it, but I'm always like, I don't want to just drop it in there. Like I always feel bad about self-advertising in like other groups that do the thing. Like I even feel bad posting in Chris's Discord when I go live, like streaming, but at least Chris doesn't stream anymore. Why did these guys not? Oh, because I never gave him a loot table. Right? 89. If weapon component dot primary does not equal null. What? Oh, because this happens in because this happens in Awake. All right. Grab that. And we're going to come out this entire block. And then we're going to just oh, I'm not okay. That's why. All right, fine. We'll do it here for the time being. I forgot we don't actually like, we're not using drop tables to equip these guys yet. But like, I definitely want to do something, you know, not that I don't enjoy Chris's like podcasts and stuff, you know, stuff. I love Chris's podcast, but he definitely is more on like his game dev podcast is definitely more on like the creative side of things, which obviously I think is going to come up no matter what kind of game dev podcast you do. But I want to do something that gets a bit more into like, you know, technical stuff too. I also like how my animation pops back and forth between the, that bit of grass there. And that's why I was like, kind of want to reach out to Zach, because I feel like Zach and Brad kind of had like a technical level of their podcast that I really enjoyed. And I know Zach, you know, Zach has both done podcasts and is definitely on a more technical level too. And it's like I've hung out with, not in person, but like I've hung out with Zach in Discord and played video games with Discord or in Discord and stuff with him too. So we definitely have chatted, and I feel like we vibe pretty well together and gotten to know each other at least a decent amount. So it wouldn't be like super, super weird. I'm going to die just trying to test this. You guys, I don't even remember. Do you guys drop things? Yeah, you guys drop like absurd amounts of things. I'm 100% going to walk up to one of these camps and end up dying trying to test if the loot drop works. I don't even care about that guy. Oh, shit. Oh, problem solved. I won't die now. gotta go find a gun. Hopefully not, probably not even get the gun I want. Yeah, I don't even get the gun I want. I want the gun that doesn't have the loud sound effect. Give me better guns. There we go. Yeah, that's Zach's podcast. It's a shame. I really liked their podcast. When I first moved to California, what is... Hold on. Yeah, like when I first moved to California, God, how long have I lived here? I moved in 2022. So, God, I've almost lived here like 3 years, coming up 3 years in August. That's when I found their podcast, and I got involved with their Discord fairly early. But like I was behind probably, a decent amount of episodes at this point when I discovered them, and I didn't have a job at the time. So when I first, they actually kind of is what got me to to really, really stick to a project, because they were so relatable, and it was like refreshing hearing the same struggles that I always dealt with and stuff like that. And like I started working on this game, and I've been stuck with it like almost 2 years at this point. But like I didn't have a job, so like my job basically was moving into the house and painting and all of that stuff while my wife was at work. So their podcast got me through a lot of painting our house when we moved in. But if you haven't listened to Distinguished Humans, definitely give them a listen. The ongoing meme for the longest time was about how Brad, like every week, didn't have anything done. And Zach was like working on stuff. And then there was a certain point where then Chris got involved in the podcast, because he had like Chris's Corner, where he pitched like these random game idea things, which that is eventually what turned into Game Develop Repeat. But yeah, that's where Game Develop Repeat came from, is he was actually a segment on Distinguished Humans for a while. But then Brad got super busy with Game Develop Repeat. Hey, Zerath. But Brad got super busy with like this play thing. I think it was I think it was like a theater thing that he was doing. So like the podcast like kind of disappeared for a while. Then Zach did I don't even remember what he called it, like, but it was like Zach basically did a solo part to keep releasing episodes, and he did it for a while. Then they finally came back, did a full episode with Brad, and then so he did quit doing the single episodes, and then they went silent for like 6 months, and then Brad did his announcement today where they basically were kind of ending Distinguished Humans. And I was sad about it, and that's why I kind of want to reach out to Zach and see if he wants to start a podcast. But I appreciate you stopping by nonetheless, Zero. So let's see, what were we doing? Let's go see if this loot drop worked on some guys now that I'm made myself immortal. I'm probably getting off here in like 15 minutes or so. Oh, did he die? Oh no, he just quit shooting. Okay, he's dead. Yeah, I subbed to Chris or Game Develop Repeat basically from the beginning, because like he announced it in the Distinguished Humans podcast that he was doing it. Oh, that was the zombie. All right. 7.62 by 39. Okay, so cool. It dropped 2 things of ammo. And 7.26 by 39, I believe, is what can shoot here. Oh, so both of you were through Chris. You guys... Okay. Zerath, have you listened to Distinguished Humans? Even though they're ending, or they ended, but like... Are you in their Discord? I can't even remember. It's definitely a cool community. I realize, I guess everybody that I know, I guess I'm realizing was from, because I think what it was is I got super active with Chris's podcast, you know, with Chris's streaming and podcasts and stuff like that, and being the same group of people. I was active in both Discords, but I think Chris's Discord is just more active than the Distinguished Humans was. So like, I think most of I forget that some people that I know I actually met through Chris's Discord and not Distinguished Humans. But yeah, Fev, if I'm thinking like the vibes that I want is kind of during the Zach solo episodes is kind of what I want to do, but like as a full, like, you know, full like length podcast instead of his short little things that he was doing at the time. And I'm genuinely thinking about bringing him on, or asking if he wants to come on and do it with me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to completely like, the random thing's not gonna work for me. I'm gonna need to like tailor what because it doesn't make sense that like the soldiers and stuff drop this. I'm gonna have to make some more tailored like drops. Yeah, see, I would, if I were to start it with Zach though, I would have faith that we'd be able to stick to a schedule, because I think Zach was the one that was always up Brad's ass all the time trying to get him doing it and stuff. But yeah, I mean, for starters, I gotta shoot him a message and ask, see what he says. I like the idea of doing a podcast. I just don't want to do it by myself. All right, cool. So I got some ammo. I'm getting shot at. That gun takes so long to reload. He also dropped his gun. You know what? I'm actually gonna collect these. Start collecting these guns so I can keep them in the stash. I also need to make. Enemy loot drop has been destroyed, but I'm still trying to. What did I do? What did I do? Object of type enemy loot drop has been destroyed. You're trying to access it. You should check if you know, and you should not destroy the. Huh? What did I do? Why did that break? There's. You didn't drop ammo either. Yeah, you did. That was weird. Why did that break? I don't know. I genuinely don't know what I did there. I need to shorten this timer too. Go ahead and put you in there. Oh, that's a thing that I need to add to my Trello board. I gotta figure out stash tabs so you can have more space. I need more. Okay, there's there's an AK-47. You're also an AK-47. I'm gonna put both of these guys in my stash just so I have them in the future and don't have to keep resetting if I... Oh wait, he's gonna need to go over here. Oh, my stomach just growled. Do I have any snacks? I don't think I have any snacks. Ooh, that was loud. But yeah, that's so on the list of things like goals just for like content creation aspect stuff. I gotta get more people in here. It's the only people I ever see, the only people that I can manage to have retained regularly is Yuzu Wraith, Fev, Blue Light's in here every so often. You know, all three of you guys are, you know, are people from Discords I'm already involved in and stuff. The Genesis guy, he seemed promising because he was around for a little bit, but it seems like the retention rate that I have is like not great, and it's kind of frustrating. But at least I've been actively having my numbers have been a bit better because I've been having like, instead of just like 0 people like the entire stream or up to like 1, I feel like I've been regularly having like 3 or 4, even up to 5 people. So like it's getting better. I got to work on that and getting more people in here, and then yeah, the podcast thing I kind of want to do too. That's kind of where I'm at on content creation. Where I'm at on this is I just need to finish it. I think I've had 3 times now that I've said I'm gonna have the game ready, and then like every single time I've blown past the deadline. Oh man, I'm tired. It was a long week at work though. I need a nap. And I don't get to nap because I'm going to get off here in 7 minutes and vacuum the entire house. And then do this thing. I got to get on iRacing and get some more practice laps in for some races this weekend. All right, so that's cool. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go in a different direction on the loot drops because the just pure chaos random is not going to work for me. Or, yeah, it's basically I'm going to have to say... Yeah, I'm trying to think about it. Like, most of the generic... Any ideas on the name of what? The podcast? Or, because yeah, I have an idea for the name of the podcast. Yeah, I've got a name for it. I'll if I go through with it, I'll announce it. Call it My Partner Hates Games, the podcast, where we can get together and talk games without being condescending. Anytime I mention anything about video games or Warhammer or even working on my game dev too, like to an extent, my wife is definitely more supportive of like the game dev stuff. But man, I talk about video games or I talk about like Warhammer and I can just see my wife's eyes just start glazing over, being like, I don't care. Could call it that or bacon legs, and you'll be what a podcast about bacon. Yeah, currently the podcasts I listen to myself are game developer Pete. Obviously, I listen to that. There's a podcast that I'm gonna get into here soon when I get caught up on some other podcasts. God, I have a whole list of podcasts that oh geez, I've got a whole list of podcasts here that I just added with the intensive listening to. But like, so on my list right here, let's see, I start at the top. I've got Safety Third. Actually, I can just, okay, if I just bring this over like halfway, there's no like identifying. feature. Oh, not that one. This one. Okay, yeah. So I got safety third. This is like a bunch of science and engineering YouTubers and stuff like William Osmond, Niall Red, stuff like that. I really love their podcast, and they're the one that I'm binging right now to catch up. Distractable is a podcast with Markiplier and his friends that they do like a little game show thing. And this is one that I actively listen to every week. So like I'm always 100% caught up on this. Go My Favorite Sports Team is Markiplier and another one of his friends doing a sports podcast. And this one is one of the ones that I'm caught up on. So I'm not falling behind there. Game Develop Repeat, I'm caught up on, and I listen to his episodes every Wednesday. Safety Third is the one where right now, if I'm not, I just listen to when I need something to binge through like the 150 something episodes I needed to. Cubics Shenanigans and Garage Hammer are two Warhammer podcasts that I listen to periodically. One of these guys is a friend of mine. That's a Warhammer podcast. And this is a podcast I used to listen to a ton and then fell out of it, and I'm going to get back into it. Markiplier himself is just this podcast is he calls it Power Wash Pals, and it's just him interviewing people while they play Power Wash Simulator. P1 with Matt and Tommy is an F1 podcast that I listen to, that I'm caught up to and listen to every time episodes come out. Creepcast I'm working on catching up with. That's a cryptid like horror podcast, and they do a lot of like creepypasta stuff with Wendigoon and Meat Canyon. Scared to Death is like a haunted one. I listened to this podcast called History of Rome because I'm a nerd. If you ever heard, you'd only know the You Betcha guy and Charlie Berenz probably if you're from the Midwest, but their podcast is really funny. And then I got a couple like game dev podcasts. Like these two I've never listened to, but I've got them saved because I wanted to. And then Zachavelli I listened to on and off. I haven't been at Zachavelli's stream in a long time. Yeah, I'm like super far behind on him. His. Like, what episode is he on? 94, and they're all... I think his podcast will probably be the one that I start... When I'm caught up with Safety Third. Yeah. Let's see. Knee Deep in the Pod is it's a couple of friends. One is a developer, and they talk games and stuff. Yeah, I'll have to put it on the list, but I got so many that are backlogged. Edge of Sleep was like an audiobook that they haven't done a season 2 of yet, and I'm kind of... This actually got turned into a TV show, too. Oh, you guys can't even see that because it's too far down. But yeah, I think the Game Dev Field Guide, I think, is the next... Or I'm going to finish Safety Third and get caught up with that, so that way I can just listen to their episode that they release every week. And then I'm going to catch up on Creepcast, which doesn't have nearly as many episodes. And then I think Zachavelli's podcast is going to be the one that I binge next to get caught up on. Because he also doesn't release episodes like crazy often either. So once I'm like caught up, it'll be fine. The problem is he'll be the one that's a pain to keep up on because he releases so like little. Because I think he's like, what, once a month? It's the best RuneScape song ever. And then, Zuraith Fev. It was one of you guys. What was that anime you were telling me to watch the other day? It was like, was it solo leveling? That's what you were telling me. Okay, never mind. I don't need you anymore. I remembered it. I gotta put that on my watch list for anime. But all right. On that note, it's 4:30. So I'm gonna call stream here. I think next week I'm gonna go back to my normal schedule. So I'm 100% not going to stream on Mondays and Thursdays. So I'll be back on Tuesday. And anybody else that's floating around in here, I don't know if we got any lurkers or not, but if we do have some lurkers, there we go. We'll hit those the socials, and I stream on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 2 to like 4:30 on what time zone am I in? Whatever time zone California is. And we'll see how much progress I have by Monday. I think my goal is I'll probably get this Probably get this loot drop thing sorted out off stream. I think it's Pacific. But yeah, I'm gonna get this loot drop thing sorted out on stream. Probably knock out some other stuff. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And I'll probably clean up my podcast. I'll probably clean up my stream itself here and because I think I kind of just threw stuff together when I started streaming again, since I lost I didn't lose them, but all my stuff is on my old computer, so I don't have like my proper setup anymore. Like, I mean, right now it's literally just my webcam, and then there's just a black box behind it just to give myself a little border. But like the window is not even fit into the stream. And wait, Fev, where are you based out of? I guess I don't know how far Pacific time zone also goes out. I could tell you like 3 states. Oh, Oregon. Okay, so you're just north of me. Fev is within a handful of hours. I say a handful of hours. It's probably still like a decent drive to get up to Oregon. But yeah, no, so I got some cleanup I want to do on my stream to make it a little bit nicer instead of the random garbage I threw together now. I mean, I was streaming for probably a month again before I even had a stream starting and stream ending screen. But yeah, so I'm gonna head out. I will see you guys on Tuesday. And both of you guys actually, I think, need to join my Discord because I don't think you're in there. I never post in it, but I might start posting it. Yeah, neither one of you guys are in my Discord, and it hurts my feelings. But the GDR one's not mine. It's all good. Anyway, yep, I'll see you guys Tuesday. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Bye.